Hey everyone, welcome to part 9 of this Dark Urge Tactician mode guide for Baldur's Gate 3. We're going to start by heading over toward the Blighted Village waypoint so that we can go and take care of the hag. From that waypoint, we're going to start by heading straight south. We'll exit the Blighted Village, and then there's a little path that we have to take so that we can get down to where we can find Auntie Ethel arguing with Mayrina's brothers. So once you leave the village, just follow the path and then turn toward the left when you get to the intersection. That will take you down along this little pathway here, and as you turn to the right, you'll see the people that we want to talk to in the sunlit wetlands.
For the love of all that is holy, I've never clapped eyes on your poor sister.
Drop the act, hag. You was the last to see Mayrina.
Just let her go. Please.
Thank goodness you're here, sweetie. I don't know what's come over these boys.
Stop this. We won't ask again.
How about you all just calm down? What's going on here?
Careful. Don't trust a word out of her mouth. Our sister went to the hag, and we ain't seen her since.
Hand over heart, I don't know their sister. I will gladly help you all look for her, though.
Enough. Where is she?
Ethel, what did you do to their sister?
Bollocks. You were supposed to rush to my defense, love. Fat lot of good you are. Some advice? You ever darken my door, you'd best have that head bowed and an apology at the ready. Bye-bye now.
Bloody hells. She just disappeared. Ain't seen nothing like that before.
She could shoot fireworks out of her backside for all I care. The hag has Rina.
Will someone please tell me what's going on?
It's our sister, Mayrina. She's... well... she was in a bad way after her husband died.
Started saying weird things, like how she was gonna bring him back.
Next thing, she's gone looking for the hag. Of all the stupid things to do. And we haven't seen her since. And no good ever came from dealing with a hag.
None of this matters, all right? We need to get her back, and fast.
I'm sorry. I wish you luck in finding her.
Thank you. We'll need it.
To hell's with that. We don't need luck or bloody help. Now come on. We've a hag to kill.
Okay, so they're going to run off and we're going to follow them. Eventually, you're going to get a little cutscene with a perception check. Don't worry if you fail it, though. It doesn't really matter.
A chill runs up your spine. You feel like you're being watched.
Let's choose to do the investigation, even though it's very unlikely that we'll succeed here, because the skill check is a 20. It's very difficult for us to get this, and it doesn't really matter if you fail it. Don't waste any of your inspiration points or anything on this one. Just keep on going.
The place has a quiet sense of calm. You can't see anything strange.
Things aren't all that they appear to be in this area, but we're just going to stick to the path running straight ahead through the water, continue along the path, and when you get right by the sheep, there is an intersection here. You can turn toward the left and then take that once again through the river. You'll get to the waypoint up ahead. This is the Riverside Teahouse waypoint. Continue along the path going up the wooden steps all the way to the top, and you'll see Auntie Ethel's house over here on the right. So continue along and then go up the steps and open up the door, but don't go in just yet. Instead, what we want to do is to start sneaking here, and Auntie Ethel should be inside in view. We're actually going to begin battle with her by hitting her with a sneak attack ranged to start the fight. Well, Auntie Ethel sure doesn't look like herself anymore, and speaking of things not looking like itself, the entire world is going to change. You can see it kind of freak out on me here. That's because the sunlit wetlands is now replaced by the putrid bog, and it's a lot grosser and nastier place than it was before. Well, Auntie Ethel, or the hag, will use a potion of invisibility when the battle starts, and she will not be visible anywhere around here. But if you're a drow, then you will have a very special ability called Fairy Fire. What this does is it makes all invisible enemies around here become visible, and we get an advantage when we're attacking against them. So you can see she's now visible, and we can do some extra damage to her. So let's start off by just using an offhand melee attack with the advantage, and we're going to do some good damage against her, hitting 11 plus another 3. So to be honest, I would not recommend going through this fight and fighting really hard because we don't actually want to kill her here. We're going to have to fight her a little bit later on, and all the damage that you do to her here doesn't matter at all because she's going to get it all back. So I'll show you kind of the gist of how I would fight her in here. You can just choose to kill her if you want to, but it's not very advantageous to you. It's much better to wait until later. So here coming up, I'll use the Failure Alluve Shriek. I'm going to now have the additional lightning damage whenever she takes damage. And I can run over here with Gale. He can buff himself with haste, so he gets another action in combat, and then I'll be able to use Magic Missile, and I'm going to bump this up to a level 3 spell, and you'll see just how powerful it is. She starts at 118 health, and after getting hit by all those projectiles, she's now down to 61 health, so we're absolutely smashing through her health. Using Lae'zel, I can just run her up, and then she has her ranged attacks, so I'm going to hit her with a couple of attacks, and you'll see she dropped from 61 health, and then after 2 attacks, she's down to 30 health. So I took away 31 health in that time. She's got 30 health left, so if I wanted to, I could use Action Surge and just kill her right now, but I don't want to do that. I want her to actually escape.
Come now, Mayrina. Time to go. Enjoy playing with your new friends. Bye-bye.
So like I just said, you don't want to kill her, you actually want her to run down into her lair down below. So you can give chase, you can run right through her fireplace out there by her, but I'm just going to move my characters closer without actually engaging in combat and killing her. So there are going to be some more enemies outside of the Teahouse. If you were to run out there, you could get into a fight with them. Actually, all the sheep in the area were enemies in disguise, and if you had attacked them out there, then they would have turned into enemies, and that would have kind of thrown off this whole sequence here. So once we're all done now, she's going to escape.
You come to my home, interfere in my business, and now have the gall to face me in the heart of my lair. You petulant bollocks! I'll rip your spine out your asshole! I'll use your blood to spice my stew! I'll keep you alive until I've sucked the marrow from your bones. And then I'll bring you back and do it all over again. Just get out of here, please!
Well, we're going to keep on going and follow the hag down into her lair. We can go right across the fire and then use the wooden stairs to go down. We're now down in the Overgrown Tunnel. Let's run forward a little bit until we get another cutscene.
You are as thick as they come, sweetness. This is my personal playhouse, and you don't have an invite. Get out!
Tell me where Mayrina is.
Has that wriggler eaten your brain already? Leave. Or you'll end up in tonight's stew. You'll go nicely with Mayrina. She's already marinating.
After the cutscene, let's keep heading down toward the bottom of this area, and then we're going to turn and go over toward the west, and we're going to go interact with something called the Gnarled door straight ahead of us.
You feel crushing waves of fear as the presence within the door recoils. It can't let people through, not again.
No time to chat. I'm here to kill the hag.
A scene appears in your mind. 2 paladins and a cleric marching through the door, shrouded in the glow of the divine. Weapons brandished, they charge into the hag's lair. Screams of terror pierce the air.
You let them in? Naughty. That's a decade for each. You're mine for 30 more years, Petal.
The hag will be the least of your problems if you don't open up.
The door twitches, but stays firm. Its form flickers, and you realize that the door is transparent.
Persuasion. If I kill the hag, you'll be free. This is a skill check looking for a 10, so let's roll that and keep going.
You see the hag. She walks through the door, its form shimmering. The lightest touch of hope brushes your mind as the presence within retreats.
Let's talk to that gnarled door one more time.
You feel the barest hint of life from within the door.
I can see through you. I can just walk right in.
You see the hag, eyes bright with glee, as she sets fire to the door. With a jerk, you're pulled from the vision. The presence within shrinks, begging you not to run through it.
Well, let's ignore that and just run straight through the door. Now be careful, because as you go forward, there's going to be some enemies prowling around over here. So make sure that you're sneaking around. We do want to get the early attack in if possible against them, but they are kind of walking around and turning a lot, so it might be difficult to get that first attack in. You saw me toggle on the non-lethal attacks. It's up to you whether you want to kill these guys or to spare them. After all, they're under the influence of the hag and can't really help it. So I'm just going to be nice and allow them to live here. But they're not going to hold back anything against me. What's interesting is that whenever they have their turn, they have to pass a saving throw, which will either allow them to resist the hag's influence and basically do nothing against you, or they have to do what the hag wants and they'll be attacking you. So look at all the enemies in this area. There's some along the back and some over on the right side here. I'll start by attacking this Mask of Regret. Just use my normal range attack and the offhand attack. It can do some decent damage. I did miss one of those attacks though, unfortunately. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to run Astarion up, and he is going to use his sneak attack. And that's going to do a lot of damage to this guy. So it does 22 damage. He only has 1 health remaining. Unfortunately, I didn't quite get the kill on him. There's not really anything else that I can do here, so let's just end that turn. But I noticed that there's something missing from my party here, and that's Gale. He's nowhere to be seen, and in fact, he's actually outside this whole area. He somehow got separated from the rest of my party when I went down into the hag's lair. So I'm going to go over to Gale, and then I just have to run back toward where the fight is. I'm going to speed this up just to save time, but it's the same path that we took getting down here before. Okay, now we're in the same room where everyone else is already fighting. We're going to sneak forward till we're just outside of their line of sight. And one of the coolest things about Magic Missile is that you can separate the projectiles. So I'm actually going to send one of them over to kill the enemy with only 1 HP left. And then I can send more over toward the other enemies in this area. So 1 for you, and then the rest for this guy. And we're going to lock those in and do a ton of damage to these enemies. So 1's eliminated and 1 is now weakened. We're going to just pass the rest of Gale's turn. We don't need to do anything with him. And then we're going to move forward with Lae'zel so that she can start to attack. There is going to be 1 enemy who climbed up top here. So what I want to do is have her jump up, and then I can have her start to attack the Mask of Terror up here. We'll just have her take a couple swings with her main hand weapon, and that's going to do quite a bit of damage to this guy. Doesn't quite kill him, especially with that miss, but with some action surge, I can definitely finish him off easily. This enemy is now knocked out, and all of our party members got 40 experience for taking him out that way. There's honestly not a lot more to say about this fight. It is very straightforward. You just have to focus on taking out the enemies and hoping that they don't get a lot of damage in on you. So I'm just going to let this battle play out, and I'll see you on the other side of it after I've eliminated all of these enemies. Okay, well, after that fight, there are some enemies in this area to loot if you choose to do that. Let's go over and loot this dead body right next to us. You'll see that it has a couple of very interesting items. Namely, there is the Faded Note and the Whispering Mask. The Faded Note basically says, don't wear the mask, don't drink the tea or eat the food or do anything because they're all just tricks from the hag. And these enemies are all wearing masks. So if you were to pick up the Whispering Mask and equip it, then the hag would actually gain control of your character, which would be very bad. So under no circumstances should you put the mask onto your character. You can loot it, you can sell it, you can do whatever, just don't equip it. Well, after that fight, now what we want to do is short rest to get our health back, and then we're going to jump through this waterfall toward the west, and that will take us to the other side where we can continue along down the path. Be very careful where you run because you can see the big clouds of poison in this area. You don't want to go through them. You don't want to climb down the ladder because you'll go right down into a poison cloud. So you might be wondering, how do we proceed through here safely? Well, the answer is by jumping across the gaps. I'm going to switch it over to Astarion for now, and he's going to lead us through here. He kind of has the worst jumping ability of my whole team, so it's good to take control with him. And now we're going to line ourselves up so that we can jump right across this gap right next to the ladder, and we can get over here. Be very careful as you go through here too, because there are going to be a lot of traps. They're called Peculiar Flowers. You can choose to disarm them with a skill check of 10. Pretty easy to do that with Astarion, and then that will disable those and you won't take as much damage going through here. Now you may recall that when we were in the Underdark, the Bibberbangs had a similar type of poisonous cloud around them that you could blow up with fire. Unfortunately, it doesn't work here. You can't do that. It only leaves a spot of fire on the ground for you to avoid. Let's keep going down. This spot gets a little bit annoying with your characters. I would actually recommend splitting your party members up so that they don't try to follow each other. And then you have to jump over the poison gas down to the ledge below. You'll lose a couple points of health, but that's okay, and then you can climb down the knotted roots. Just do that with all of your characters until they all get down here in this bottom part. Okay, we're all down here. Now we're going to proceed forward, being sure not to walk through the gas. You can hug the left edge and get pretty close, and then you just have to jump over onto this other area. Before you go any further, you just want to save the game because the fight against Auntie Ethel is just up ahead and we don't want to mess this up. And there are a couple things that can help us out with this fight. Number one, we're going to short rest just to get all of our health back after getting down here, and then we're running forward into the Ancient Abode until we get into a fight with Auntie Ethel. Now you can sneak around here and hit her with a sneak attack if you want to, but what she's going to do on her first attack is to light the cage with Mayrina on fire. That's not good, and she also has these clones all over. The clones aren't really a big threat. They will go down in just one hit, so one thing that you can do, if you have Gale, you can just spread out the magic missiles all over the place, and you can take down multiple clones in one turn. So starting off, I'm just going to use my Cunning Action Dash to get Astarion way down there close to the enemies so that we can actually start doing some damage. Now if you look up at the top bar with all the portraits of the people in the fight, you can see all of the Hag's clones on the right side, and when you target one of them, then they will have their portrait light up in white, so you can know which ones are the clones and which one is actually Auntie Ethel. Auntie Ethel is the one all the way on the left side of all those portraits who already had her turn. All the ones who still have their turns coming up are the clones, so that makes it really easy to determine which is the real one and which are the fake Auntie Ethels in this area. And I really just want to take out all of the clones first so that I don't have to deal with any of them. Using the Dark Urge, I'm going to attack, and using the different ranged attacks that I have, I can hit different enemies. So dual wielding those ranged weapons is really good. I can use my offhand first, and then I can attack another enemy with my main hand attack, allowing me to take out 2 enemies with 1 turn. Unfortunately, no one else was in range, but that's okay. I'm going to take Lae'zel, and I'm going to move her the opposite direction and get her up top on this little rocky outcropping, and then she can can start attacking down from the top portion here. So again, we're just trying to take out all the clones in this area. I missed with the first attack, but I do have that extra attack with her, so I can take that one down now. And now there's only 2 clones remaining. Now on Gale's turn, I'm not going to have him attack one of the clones. Instead, I'm going to have him use Ray of Frost so that he can attack the burning cage, and that will extinguish the flames. If you allow that cage to burn long enough, then it will actually kill Mayrina, and we do not want that. So using Ray of Frost as a cantrip is a good way to save on a spell slot, put out the fire on the cage, and to save Mayrina. You can also just throw water on it if you've got like a jar of water, or if you cast Create Water, you can do it that way too. When the clones get to attack, they like to use Ray of Sickness to do some decent damage and also poison your party members. So something like an Elixir of Poison Resistance or even antidotes can go a long way to stopping you from taking too much poison damage, which is the main way that the hag seeks to damage you in this fight, just using poison elemental damage. Now there's only 1 clone remaining and Auntie Ethel herself. As Astarion, I'm going to use Cutting Action Dash just to try to get as close as possible to the real Auntie Ethel, and then I'm going to use the Phalar Alluve Shriek ability to start to buff up the damage that I can do against her. So we're now in range of that Singing Sword Shriek, and we can pass it back over to Lae'zel, who's going to attack the last remaining clone and take it out of the fight, leaving only Auntie Ethel. But Lae'zel's turn isn't quite done yet. We can still get in range to attack Auntie Ethel, and we can do that pretty easily. I'm going to move a little bit closer here, and then I'm going to use her Misty Step ability that she gets as a Githyanki to get her up and into range where we need to be. So we're going to go right over here next to her, and then I'm going to pop that Action Surge ability, and with that Phalar Alluve Shriek, you'll see that we can do lots of extra lightning damage when we attack. So I'll attack her 1 time, get some big critical hits there, and then I can attack her again, and we took out a huge chunk of her health just with Lae'zel here. Now we're going to move Gale up, and we have only 1 job with him, and that's to hit with as many magic missiles as possible. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the level 3 spells, but that's okay. Level 2 is still going to do a whole lot of damage against her. So going from 104 health, she's now down to 70 health, so that was 34 in just 1 spell. Auntie Ethel will go back to her old tricks of having all the spawns show up, but she also turns invisible, and I can see right where she was. She turns invisible right next to this burning torch down there. So I have a good idea of where she is, even though I can't see her right now. If I did cast Fairy Fire from my Drow, I could see where she was, but it doesn't really matter. My main mission right now is just to take out all the clones in this area. So once again, I'm just going to be hitting the enemies and taking them out, making sure that all of those clones die as quickly as possible. So I hit 1 with my offhand range attack, and now I can shoot with my normal ranged attack and then take out 2 clones in just that 1 turn. Now there's only 2 clones remaining, so I'm going to have Astarion move forward, and I'm going to get him as close as possible to where I believe the hag to be, over there by the torch. So moving him down here, I can't get any sense with the Phalar Alluve, so I'm just going to pass the turn over to Lae'zel, and I'm going to have her move over kind of into the same area where I believe her to be. I don't really have to have her do anything at this point, so I'm just going to pass the turn over to Gale.
Unleash me.
So both of the clones are actually closer to Gale than to the other party members, so I can just hit them with magic missiles and spread them out on the different enemies. I can't quite hit the one on the right side, so instead I'm just going to move Gale a little bit toward the middle here, just to make them more evenly spaced out, and then I can magic missile the one on the left, just throw 2 magic missiles over there. Again, they can't miss, so it doesn't really matter how many you assign to them. We just have 4 of the projectiles to assign, so I put 2 on each of them, and both of those clones are now out of the way, and I can move Gale a little bit closer. Mayrina is going to have her turn to act, which is just yelling at us from inside the cage, and then it's back over to Auntie Ethel, who will actually do another type of trick, pulling Mayrina out of the cage, and now we have to decide which Mayrina is the real one and which is the hag. There are 3 good indicators for which is the real Mayrina and which one is the hag. Number 1, when you target an enemy, you'll see its portrait at the top of the screen glow. So looking back and forth between them, find the one that has the hag spot in the turn order, and you want to attack that one to reveal the true hag. Number 2, Auntie Ethel will always be level 5 and Mayrina will be level 1. And third, Mayrina is pregnant and her character model will actually have a pregnant belly versus the hag will have a flat non-pregnant belly. Okay, so we've successfully figured out who is the real Auntie Ethel, and now we can just launch a follow-up attack to do a little bit of more damage to her. Now, the point of this section of the fight is not to kill her. We do not want to kill Auntie Ethel. We just want to reduce her health to as low as possible while keeping her alive. So I'm going to run Astarion over here so that the singing sword will affect her once again, and then I can just attack her and do some decent damage. And then I'll bite her with the Vampire Bite ability to heal myself up a little bit and do some more damage to her. I'm going to now run Lae'zel up, and she's going to do a ton of damage to Auntie Ethel. We're going to attack her 2 times, being very careful not to get her health all the way gone. So she's got 10 health left. That is perfect for us. We do not want to reduce it any more beyond this point. We want to keep her alive. So with Gale, I'm going to run him forward, but not actually attack or anything with him. And then I'll end the turn. Mayrina will have a little bit of a turn here, and then the hag will talk to us.
Wait! Wait just a tick! Killing me is a waste of time. I'll find a way to return. Always have, always will. But it's unpleasant. So how about we be civilized about this, I have something you want.
Go on.
I knew I liked you, dearie. Let me leave with the girl, and I'll give you power. You want to be stronger, tougher, smarter? Done. Anything is possible. Just let me keep the girl and her babe.
A simple trade. More deception. Take her head.
It's your choice, sweetness.
Depending on who's talking to her, you'll want to do either the intimidation or the deception option. I'll say deception. My reinforcements are nearly here. Give me the girl and the power, and they'll spare you. Well, this option gives you a skill check of 20. We have a little bit of a bonus on our side, but we still have to have a nearly perfect roll. I would recommend saving the game at this point just so that you can always refer back to this and reload this previous save in case something goes wrong, because you'll probably fail it. You can go ahead and use some inspiration points. We've got a few stocked up at this point. So I got kind of unlucky with a critical failure here. I just kept it going, and eventually I got lucky and got a critical success as well.
You greedy little bollocks. Fine. Here. I'll not soon forget this sweetness. You have my word.
But the deal. What about my husband? What happens to him?
Deal's off, you dumb cow. And you've him to thank for it. Not that it matters. I'll find another just as plump and ripe. I can set up shop elsewhere. People always need lotions and potions.
Best of luck, Auntie.
Bollocks to luck. It's only the deal that counts. Bye-bye, Petal.
You bastard! You ruined it! You ruined everything!
It's kind of weird that we have both the reward screen and a dialogue going on at the same time. The reward for letting the hag live means that we get to choose a clump of her hair to permanently increase one of our stats by 1 point. And they kind of go in order that they show up on the stat screen. There's strength and constitution and dexterity, etc. But what I really want to do here is to give it to Gale, so I'm going to switch over to him, and then I'm going to give him a +1 to intelligence so that I can buff up his magic even more. So let's find the Auntie Ethel's hair that gives us a permanent +1 bonus to our intelligence. We'll select it, we'll lock it in, and then we'll accept that selection to add it into our inventory. Now you do want to use it from your inventory before you go back to camp, because if you have the owlbear cub, it actually can eat that hair and then you'll lose the benefit of it. Now we're going to go back to the Dark Urge and continue the conversation to say, slow down, what did I do?
Ethel was going to bring my husband back from the dead, and now I'll never see him again. Because of you!
Hags don't work for free. What did you promise her?
This. Just a bit longer and my child would have been born. And all this would have been over.
You are going to trade your baby for your dead husband?
Don't judge me. I have nothing. My baby would have been raised in rags. Auntie Ethel promised to give this child a good life. Teach them magic even. More than I could have done.
Don't sell yourself short. You can raise this child.
I always wanted to be a mother. I just never thought I'd do it alone. Now I'll have to drag Connor's coffin all the way home. It's the only way this child will ever meet their father. I hope you're happy.
Well, yeah, I got 20 experience and a permanent +1 bonus to Gale's intelligence, so I'm pretty happy. Let's go through the wooden door back here, and that will take us back into the workshop where Auntie Ethel keeps all of her secret things. The Acrid workshop is home to all of her potions and a couple other items that are of use to us. There is a portal in the back here. Don't use that mushroom circle because that takes you out of this area. What you want to do first is to look around, and there's going to be something over here on the table. It's going to be called Bitter Divorce. You definitely want to pick that up because we'll be using it in just a moment. Make sure you grab the Potion of Speed. These are always really handy to have. There's a couple letters that you can read if you just want to learn a little bit more about the lore of Auntie Ethel. There's a letter from Ethel and a letter to Ethel. There's a pork loin to give 5 camp supplies, as well as a pig's head that will give you 4 camp supplies, so grab that. The Ever-Seeing Eye gives you the ability to cast protection from evil and good. Everything else here isn't really worthwhile. Now there is going to be a heavy chest over here that you can open up without having to lockpick it. It's full of rings that we can grab, and then we can always sell those off later to get some more money. Across from that chest is going to be a little table that has a bunch of potions around here. Most of these potions are harmful, only 2 of them have beneficial effects. The first has a Mother's Loathing, which teaches you how to bite an enemy until the next long rest, and then Heart of Stone will allow you to have a poison resistance until the next long rest. Nothing else is really important though in this area, so you can just skip picking it all up. However, there is a wicker chest right over here that contains a Potion of Healing, Potion of Animal Speaking, and Potion of Speed. Nothing else here is really worthwhile, so don't bother picking any of it up. Now we want to go ahead and go into our inventory because we want to give Gale that permanent +1 bonus to his intelligence. So look in your inventory, find the Auntie Ethel's hair item, and then you'll be able to use it to permanently increase his intelligence from 17 to 18. With that done, let's switch it over to the Dark Urge. He's holding that Bitter Divorce wand, and then I'm going to use the Mushroom Circle to teleport us back out into the Putrid Bog. Mayrina is very close to us, but before we go and talk to her, I'm actually going to head back to camp because I want to put Karlach in my party so that we can gain a little bit more approval and affection with her. Well, here she is. Let's talk to her.
What are you thinking about?
We have a ton of dialogue options to choose from here, but because we're trying to still romance her, there is a good option for us, and that is Karlach. I'd love to be able to touch you properly.
Where would you start?
I'd order you to strip naked and take it from there.
And I'd even let you. Gods, we better find a way to cool me off soon. I'm not sure how much more of this I can take.
Now talk to her again. I'm going to take Lae'zel out of my party and put Karlach into the party. Once that's all settled, we're going to leave camp and we're going to be back in the Putrid Bog. But now Karlach wants to talk to us again, so we're going to talk to her. This time it's about soul coins. We're basically going to just agree with her and let her use them. So here's the dialogue options that you should make in this conversation. Aren't you afraid this is going to overload your engine?
Nah, it'll be fine.
Let's find out. Go on and try it now. Intriguing. Next time we're in battle, we'll make sure you get one. She approves of that and gives you a little bit more affection for it. Now let's talk to Mayrina for one of the strangest cutscenes that I've seen in this game.
Gods, didn't hear you coming. I know I should head home, but I can't bring myself to leave. The thought of putting him in a wheelbarrow and making the journey all over again.
I found a wand. I think I can resurrect your husband.
What? You can?
You feel a surge of power from the wand. The air suddenly tastes acrid. It wants to be used.
Bring him back! Bring Connor back! Please!
Point the wand towards the coffin.
What? What's happening? Why is he still dead?
You feel something pull at you. The creature yearns for a master.
What have you done to him?
Hold on, maybe it's not permanent.
Not permanent! Bits of him have fallen off! I wanted him back the way he was, not this.
This is your husband. Do you want him or not?
Connor? Connor! I don't even know if he's in there, but he might be. And if he is, I'll find him and bring him back.
Here's the wand. Good luck to you and Connor. Giving away the wand will give you approval with Gale and Karlach.
Thanks. But we'll need more than luck. A bloody miracle, more like it. I'll find a wizard or something. Maybe someone in Baldur's Gate can help us. Connor always said you can find anything in that city. Remember? And thank you, I guess. Come on, love. Let's go.
We get 60 experience for that, and now they are going to shamble their way over to Baldur's Gate to where we can actually find them in Act 3, and that completes the Save Mayrina quest. So we've definitely gone a long way in this episode of making our characters much stronger, but we're not done yet. So let's continue our journey. We're going to go straight ahead and we're going to climb up the ladder just in front of us. At the top of the ladder, there's going to be a door that we can lockpick. It does have a skill check of only 2, however, so it makes it very easy to get through this one. Let's go through the door, and that will take us back into Auntie Ethel's home called the Gnarled Teahouse. I'll give you a brief overview of some of the things you want to grab inside here because we can loot everything. There is going to be a shabby wardrobe just ahead of you. Grab the elixir of bloodlust, and then if you turn over toward the side, there's going to be a wooden chest that you can open up. Inside is a little bit of gold and a dark ring. It doesn't do anything, but you can sell it. Now let's go across and over by the ladder here. There's going to be a potion of greater healing that you can pick up right at the top of the ladder, and then you can go down and grab a potion of healing on the table, and there's also going to be a potion of animal speaking that you'll want to pick up right next to it. There's nothing else really useful in this area, so we're just going to head up the stairs and we're going to turn to the right. We're going to go along the pathway and out the opening until we're outside. There's going to be a table straight ahead of us. If you search the area, you'll find a couple things that you'll want. The potion of greater healing as well as the grilled rothe ribs to get 8 camp supplies. That's all we really need here. Now we're going to continue on down and we're going to hop down into this lower area. When you get down here, there is a well that you can choose to drink from, and typically it will give you plus 10 temporary hit points to whoever drinks from it. However, it can also be kind of a nasty experience for you.
Fetid smell assaults your nostrils. Dead flesh lies below. A great deal of it.
If Auntie Ethel does not like you, then it will actually poison you and give you a psychic debuff, and I just want to avoid that for right now. So let's head on down. We're going to continue along the path, and I do get ambushed by some enemies. You actually probably should be sneaking through this area and get the early attack in on them, but all the sheep in this area get turned into these redcap enemies that we need to take out. They're pretty easy to take out at a distance because they really want to run up and fight you very close up, but we have a lot of options to attack from ranged. Using Astarion, I can frighten them with the bow of the Banshee that I have, and I can also use my good sneak attack ranges or just otherwise hit them with my other range attacks, and it should be able to take out these enemies quite simply. There should be about 4 of them in this area, and like I said, they try to run up close to you, but we're just going to hit them from a distance and they won't cause us much of a problem at all. There's really nothing else that I need to say about this fight. I will just let it play out for a few minutes while it finishes up, just so you can see what it looks like. I don't want to skip these combat encounters on the Tactician difficulty, just because the combats are some of the more tricky parts of this game on this difficulty. So I'll just show you what it looks like. But really, the name of the game here is just to hit them with as many long-range attacks as possible to kill them before they get a chance to get up in your face and do damage to you.
Blood comes easy these days. Survival is all that matters. speak, they burn. Onward.
Make it hurt.
Another fight. Let's go.
Well, there you go. That was a very easy fight. We got some good experience, and it wasn't a problem because the rough terrain for all of them made it very difficult for them to get to us, and we could take them out at a distance. And then by the time they got up close to us, they were very easy to pick off. Well, now what we want to do is to increase our capabilities by using some Mind Flayer Parasite specimens in order to enhance all of our Illithid powers. So, starting off, we're going to go into our inventory with the Dark Urge, and I'm going to use one of those Mind Flayer Parasite specimens to get it going.
This one is a true soul parasite. It can enhance you. You can absorb its potential. Open your mind to it. You already know how.
Open your mind to the tadpole.
Your mind swells as it subsumes everything the tadpole has to offer. Everything it was and everything it was destined to be. Pure potential. Pure power.
Good. You have grown your power and improved your chances of survival.
So now all of those Mind Flayer Parasite specimens that were in our inventory have been used up. Now I'm going to switch it over to Gale because I actually want to let him use those Mind Flayer Parasites to enhance his Illithid powers. From the menu, choose Illithid powers, and you'll see that at this point I have 5 tadpoles available to me, and I'll show you which of the powers that you should probably gain with Gale to make him even stronger than he already is. Starting off, the first thing to learn is Favorable Beginnings, so the first attack roll or ability check you make against any target gains a bonus equal to your proficiency. The next skill to learn is Concentrated Blast, not so much for this one, but for what it unlocks, and that is the skill called Cull the Weak. When you bring a creature down to fewer hit points than your number of evolved Illithid powers, it dies, and all nearby creatures take 1 to 4 psychic damage. So if you learn a lot of Illithid powers, you can outright kill an enemy before you even reduce its health all the way down to 0. I will also switch over to the Dark Urge as the main character. He opens up a lot of fights and goes through a lot of dialogue, so teaching him Favorable Beginnings is really good for him as well. That's all for the tadpoles. I'm just going to exit out of there and then talk to Astarion. He's jealous that we were able to use those Mind Flayer Parasite specimens, and he wants to use them as well. So just to make him happy, I'm going to say, I have another in my pack. Take it if you want it.
Excellent. I'll have a rummage around and help myself in my own good time. Thank you. Your generosity is appreciated.
Alright, take a moment to go around and loot everyone around here, and then we're going to fast travel out of here. Our destination is going to be the Joaquin's Rest waypoint, way up in the northern part of this area. This is the closest place that we can go to get to the Githyanki Crash, which is what we're going to be doing very soon. So now let's run around toward the west, and that will take us to this bridge area. We can either go down the way that we took when we went and met with Voss, or you can go across the bridge, and then there's going to be a little walkway that you can take to get down to the bottom. So either which way you want to go, just go around and make your way down to this lower section, and then you're going to go and turn toward the west. You'll see a quest marker on your minimap. That's the direction that you want to go. So let's head over here, and then when you get to the very end of this road, you'll be prompted to use the mountain pass. Well, that's going to do it for part 9. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give me a big like, as well as let me know down in the comments. And if you want to keep up to date with the rest of this guide, be sure to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out, and it makes sure that you stay up to date as well. So thanks again for watching part 9. I'll see you very soon for part 10. Until then, thanks for watching, and have a good day.